feel as though we forget that we, the people, are the ones who hold true power. And we forget this. We forget that we, the people, are not useless, are not pawns to be used and abused. This point we miss. That we, the people, have the power to tell and quell any violence that anyone will try to erupt. That we, the people, have the authority to stop anything and everything around us that is corrupt. We must understand that we have an obligation to our country that we must carry out. We are 40 million Kenyans in this great nation you see. We are 40 million Kenyans, yet we feel we cannot believe. We are 40 million Kenyans, and we must stand as so. We must embrace the future and let the past go. If we are to survive that, no matter what tribe, we are all fighting for Kenya to be alive. These are the inspirational words spoken by Peter Moore. So in 1963, Kenya attained its independence. But what have we got to show for it? An ailing economy and a poor quality of life for 70% of its people. We have the tendency to put all the blame on the government, but for 50 years we tolerated these parasites. Our need to depend on others has put us in our current situation, destitute. For years we have been nurturing generation after generation of beggars, people too dilatory to take an initiative. In return, the few who have made it to the top have capitalized off the feebleness of others. Did you know that approximately 30% of our population earns less than 3,000 shillings a month? These are figures that will not go down anytime soon because there's a long line of sufferers waiting to take scraps for a hard day of work. Think about that. They say, do not bite the hand that feeds you. But what happens when the hand that feeds you severely thrashes you? In Kenya's case, we simply run back to it. We clearly have not learnt a lesson from 1978 to 1999, a period in time where our country's GDP dropped by 10% and our economy literally was in the gutter. Or from the 2007 post-election violence, where 1,300 people were killed, some being our national athletes, such as Lucas Sang, and over 600,000 people were left displaced. The same leaders then are still serving, no, exploiting us up to today. If it's not them, it is their associates publicly milking us dry of our resources. One of the main points derived from Darwin's theory of evolution is that a species has to evolve to its environment or any change in it. So why haven't the Kenyans evolved into fending for themselves? We might not have the latest advancements in technology, but we definitely have the ability to acquire these resources. One way of doing so is by investing in the young innovators of our country, people such as Anthony Mtua, who developed an ingenious way of charging mobile phones, the charging shoes, or Maxwell Collins, who created a light-sensitive voting machine. And what about Richard Terere, a 13-year-old boy who single-handedly managed to save his community and now others worldwide? These are all forms of sustainable development created by the people, for the people, bearing in mind that these three young men did not have the availability to the type of resources that most people here have today. We are standing in a gold mine, but refuse to open our eyes. So 5 weeks ago, I was trying to come up with an idea, and then I noticed that the road outside my window had a weak foundation, and it occurred to me, eventually it will begin to deteriorate because it had a weak foundation. We, the people of Kenya, are the foundation of this country and already have Vision 2030 to lead us to prosperity. The only problem is, how are we going to start our journey as a liberated nation from all our struggles and move forward towards prosperity? We will therefore have to provide each and every individual of this country with basic needs. 1, education. Only 2 out of every 3 Kenyans are literate, majority of them having received a mediocre standard of education. 2, electricity. Only half of our population has electricity. 3, food and water. The amount of people starving in Kenya is ridiculous. 4, shelter. 5, healthcare. Only 3 out of every 7 Kenyans have access to healthcare. We need more jobs, doctors, nurses, and affordable healthcare. We also need security. But lastly, we need employment. And this will come if steps 1 to 6 are achieved using sustainable development. Let us unite as a nation and no longer depend on the government or NGOs, but come together, help one another fight for our rights, but still fend for ourselves. Despite all this, let us not forget that the government owes an obligation to serve and protect us. We have been taking handouts for way too long. From today, let us live by the saying, give a man a fish, save him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and save him for a lifetime. So let us preach the rebirth of independent individuals and look down upon the enablers who try to constrain us. As an individual, as a school, as a nation, let us rise and make a change. Thank you.